Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
We are live in the Swan Lounge, lounging, swanning.
Been waiting for this day all week. I love this. I love this day of the week. Cheers. Cheers, fellas. Cheers, fellas.
Let me just start drinking over here.
Cheers.
Here we go. Have my coffee. We are live.
Did you just drink sparkling water, Hodl?
All I got is Pellegrino, bro.
Okay.
I love this. I love this day.
I mean, I got the Michters right here, but I gotta watch the babies, so I can't be drunk as fuck.
Cheers. Here we go. Have my coffee. We are live.
Sounds like somebody has the audio playing in the background, yeah?
Oh, that's me. Sorry, shit.
Get your headphones, bro. I was like, do I have this playing in the background somewhere?
Dude, you know what my problem is? I can't moderate my drinking. I just have to get shit-faced drunk or just not drink.
Wait. We got double audio still.
Not on my end. We sound great.
I'm good on my end.
Yep. Maybe it's just you, Brady.
Yeah, maybe you've got it open.
It's not me.
Brady, I know you're a window hoarder. You probably got like 100 windows open right now.
But I got it I'm in my headphones, so you wouldn't be able to hear it anyway.
Well, I'm
not. Listen, let's just kick off with what's your first topic, Brady? Can we slip in a couple quick Swan tidbits first? Yeah.
This is Swan Lounge. We do what we want.
All right, we do what we want, right? All right. Well, first off, Hodl, dude, thanks for joining. Appreciate it.
Welcome. Glad to be here, boys.
I'm glad it was a sacrosanct slot on your calendar that you would never forget. And me pinging you the link seconds before the show was to start, wouldn't, bring a reply like, oh, thanks, I forgot. I'm glad that would never happen because you're such a professional.
I don't keep a calendar because I'm successful. That's why people come to me.
Yeah, I don't even know what to do with that one, but okay. All right. It's great.
You outsource it. It's like I outsource that calendar slot to you and you hit me up. And
I hit you up,
hey,
bro.
What's up, dumbass? We have a thing you said you agreed to,
I'm trying to make a fatherhood joke here, but I feel like you're just going to say something misogynistic about how that's your wife's job. But
I would never do that. I would never.
Oh, anyway. Well, Swan members out there have probably noticed we started rolling out daily buys to I don't know, we've probably got about 20% of the list live so far, so yeah, everybody will be handled over the next week or two, and it's awesome to see people signing up, applying that daily hit the bid, baby, hit the bid every single day. I know I'm jacked up to see it every day, seeing my stack. It's pretty fun.
Hell yeah. I switched over yesterday, up my plan. I'll be honest, I was probably lying in the past when I said that I stacked every day, but now I'm not. Now I'm actually stacking every day.
Word. So that's pretty dope. And then, this is on YouTube, so, only you people that happen to watch this. We'll have a really noisy, proper launch for all the New Yorkers that would never watch this in the first place. But if you're watching and you're from New York, we're live in New York. What? That just happened. Anyway, Brady's horrified because there's a whole marketing plan behind this. But, these people deserve to know. If they're dialing in from New York and they're watching a show for a service that wasn't available to them, they deserve to know that it is available.
Fair point.
Anyway, so yes, we're live in all 50 states and Puerto Rico, and it feels very, very good. And I think there's going to be like a giant, 50-foot swan hanging off the Empire State Building or something like that. Just look for that.
He's back.
Sweet. What else? What else is going on? This was a big week for Bitcoin. Third company making a big announcement about converting 9 figures this time from NYDIG. That was pretty sweet. What else? Brady, I know you got some topics you want to hit.
We got Taproot.
Taproot is dope.
Let's go.
Let's do that.
Taproot got merged.
Man, what's with Brady? He doesn't like us.
I think his audio is fucked up. He's trying to fix it.
He'll be back. So
I can swear and shit, right? Yeah.
I mean, you can, yeah.
Okay, cool.
It only reflects well on you. We have no standards and practices here on Swan Lounge.
Swan Signal, totally different. All right.
Here's a reason you haven't gotten that invite yet.
Okay. Holy shit. I can hear now.
I have been invited. How dare you? No. I don't know who I would want to do a swan signal with. I feel like I want to be with some econometrics person or somebody who's just totally not. We don't compliment each other. It'd be amazing.
I wanted it to be American Hodl and Trace Mayer, and Trace just doesn't show up. It's just like an empty window the whole time.
No, we just display the piece of paper with mimblewimblecoinprice.com and just have that up in the corner the whole time.
When is Trace gonna come back, man? I'm gonna not lie. I kind of miss Trace a little bit, even though he showed.
Hey,
did you know that there's a website howtovanish.com, and it's
his. Yeah.
Found this
you guys know my theory, right? This was all planned,
elaborate 4D
elaborate ruse. Hey, he was talking about like all the privacy coin stuff for months coming up, right? Just setting up everything about him shilling Wimblecoin. And if you remember, like 6 months before that, he was talking about how the first 10 years of Bitcoin was for all the cooperation to get the network bootstrapped and stuff. And he said the next 10 years are going to be about competition, just a war for real estate on the blockchain, right? So, I mean, I think he just prepped himself for the war, and he's hunkering down in his citadel, wherever it is, and, protecting his real estate on the blockchain.
I think Trace has a history of this kind of stuff. Like in 2017, he was pumping Dash and Pivx. I don't even know if anybody remembers Pivx.
I remember Pivx. I think I owned some at one point.
Yeah, Pivx had like a huge pump that lasted like 2 weeks, and I'm pretty sure Trace was the whale behind the Pivx pump because he was shilling it. And so, yeah, I think he didn't realize that the culture had shifted on him so heavily that it wasn't okay to come to a Bitcoin only conference and shill a altcoin, basically.
Maybe so. Yeah, maybe it's not as.
I think he knew. I'm with Brady now. I think it was all planned. Like, I'm going to get that American Hodl. He's going to talk about this. I'm going to disappear.
Maybe. Probably not.
Probably not. He will resurface at some point, I would imagine, if that's not the case.
Oh, 100%. He's not gone for good. There's no way.
No.
He's done with Twitter because he doesn't like the pile-ons that were happening.
So here's what I think we do. I think we get one of these. A rep's not even going to cut it. We finally get one of these senators that's been taking meetings with blockchain lobbyist organizations and Coin Center and their Wall Street friends, and like they're finally there and they're like about to get red pilled on Bitcoin, and Brady reaches out with like the nicest note and shows like all the dignified people that we've had on Swan Signal for these pairings. And I don't even have any idea what your real name is anymore, but whatever, we'll dress it up and call you Thomas Walter Jefferson or some shit. And and then this person shows up and it's Senator Inouye or some shit with Hodl. For the red pill session.
Can I tell you guys, I love on the fucking Danielle DiMartino Booth and Michael Saylor episode where like she clearly had a heart out or something, but it seemed like it was like, all right, bye Danielle, we're gonna talk Bitcoin with Michael. Yeah. Hey Michael.
Yeah, it was planned from the beginning. Because we're like, all right, we'll talk some macro, but we want to nerd out with Michael Saylor.
It was like Michael,
later.
What's it like to buy $400 million worth of Bitcoin? Tell me. So funny.
I may not have tweeted this last night because probably inappropriate, but I did, I believe, write in a Telegram group last night that we need Bitcoin only fans with all these people. So, and I'm guilty. Like
it was called earn.com where you paid to hear Balaji's thoughts. Remember that?
Yeah.
I got it.
That was the Bitcoin OnlyFans, earn.com. And hey, it was sold to Coinbase for $100 bajillion or whatever fake number they made up.
$100 million of cash and upside or whatever. But it was just VCs selling to other VCs that were in both deals.
Coinbase Exodus.
Crazy, man.
Let that happen.
One time I used it. But Balaji was $20. So I spent $20 and I was like, hey man, just want to ask you, what's your personal percentage that you have in Bitcoin, And he was like, there are a lot of ranges of percentages that anyone could have. And I was like, why did I pay $20 for this answer? What a non-answer, bro. You could have just said, no, I don't want your $20. I refuse to answer. But he stole my $20, bro. I want it back.
Max Kaiser says, "Where's Stacy?"
Where is Stacy?
He doesn't even know.
She's the woman we're waiting for.
Max, we're waiting on Stacy.
She's making her margarita. She's making her margaritas.
Max, I really like the intros to the Orange Pill Pod. They have a very Big Lebowski vibe going on. I enjoy that.
Do. It's so true.
It's so true. It's the Sean Lennon, right? He sings it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So good.
It isn't red. It isn't blue. The orange pill is here for you. That's for you, Max.
That was fantastic.
Hey, it gets stuck in my head. It's one of those earworms.
I think Max is the only one watching on Periscope. I didn't even know we had a Periscope audience. Max, come over to YouTube. Join the chat there.
And just send Max the link. Max, you want to hop in? I like how we just have one famous rich viewer. Is just,
Yeah, where's all our YouTubers?
You know what? I bet you Michael Saylor is watching right now. So Michael, my hat off to you. You're welcome to join us as well.
Yeah, cheers.
Hodl, what you don't know is after that there was like another overtime with just the Swan team for like another 20 or 30 minutes. It
was like 45 minutes.
Was it another 45? Anyway, we're basically on
ladies and gents,
video with that dude for 2.5 hours.
There she is.
Hey.
She got her marg.
Drink in hand.
She's got her marg.
That's Margs and Orange Pill.
Cheers.
That's our motto. Cheers. Hey, it's 4 o'clock here on the East Coast.
Hey, it's 3 o'clock. Cocktail hour just started.
Okay.
I guess I could put something in my coffee. We'll wait.
Oh,
Drinking actually starts 3 hours early on the West Coast anyway.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. It's usually like a noon or maybe even an 11 a.m. on a Friday out here.
I used to love the days, of taking early flights. Remember when we could all fly and travel and stuff?
Those were good days.
I see Max Kaiser pop up on the screen.
Max, come join us.
The problem is actually I could probably move him in close in on here. Next time you'll have to have us. But remember those days when you used to be able to take like 10 a.m. flights and then have like a Bailey's or something and like some sort of cocktail and just pretend that it's all normal?
Absolutely. I miss my cross-country flights sometimes. They were real fun.
Just for the early morning cocktails.
Yeah.
You have to drink in first class, especially.
Oh yeah.
If you're in first class,
that's why we only travel first class. Like it gives me an excuse to I love the ones like in I only do like a glass of champagne, and then you always hear like it'll be an 8 a.m. flight and you hear somebody say, I'll have a whiskey, and you're like, whoa, dude.
Oh man.
There's just like when you're on a plane, it's just, that's the excuse. It doesn't matter what time of day it is,
Me and my wife flew to Hawaii shortly after we got married, and she'd never been in first class before, and I proceeded to drink about 9 Heinekens, and she was like, "Are you serious?" And I was like, they're all free. This is the rule of first class. Also, like, this is sophisticated drinking. I'm in first class. Come on.
Get away with just about anything up there. It's interesting. I'm glad I stopped doing business travel before getting really into Bitcoin, because that would have presented a horrible quandary. Like the upgrades, essentially spending money that you could be putting into Bitcoin for travel comfort. My life would have just absolutely sucked.
It's a good tax write-off.
Yeah, there's that.
You just gotta buy a off-duty military outfit, and you just get promoted every time. It's great. No,
I see Max Kaiser in the comments. I see Max Kaiser in the comments saying he's a fan of mine.
Is he? I guess he is.
I could see. Well, maybe he's DMing me.
No, we see it. It's showing up in. I think it's on Periscope, Twitter, not YouTube. Max is watching on Periscope.
Oh, I get it. Your restream is looking really good. I tried restream and it didn't really work for me. The quality didn't look so good. I don't know why your quality looks so good.
Here,
I don't
I'm
know.
popping up Periscope too. So
They're professional. No, I mean you're professional too.
We're slipping them some sats under the table. They give us the high bandwidth.
What about the whole Bitcoin content scene? It's amazing now compared
There's so
to,
much.
geez, even just 2 years ago, let alone like, I don't know, 7-8 years ago. It's crazy.
I'm literally at the point where I listen to one non-Bitcoin podcast, and it's Joe Rogan. Every other podcast is 100% Bitcoin. I listen to Stefan Livera, Tales from the Crypt, Citizen Bitcoin, Orange Pill Podcast, Heavily Armored Clown, Bitcoin Echo, like the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't listen to them all anymore. I have to cherry pick.
Yeah, I have to cherry pick too.
You know, it's too much.
There's not enough time in the day, you know.
I posted the other day, my Pocket Cast keeps track of how much I listen. And in the past 450 days, I've listened to 51 days worth of podcasts.
Oh my God.
It's like 3 hours a day. I mean, I just have it in all the time. I have a little earbud in going whenever I'm doing housework or doing the yard, mowing the yard or exercising or anytime. It's on in my ear.
It's so bad. I always have the earbud in, like even at dinner, you know, and my wife will be like, hello, your daughter is speaking to you. And I'm like, oh, sorry. Yeah. Hey, sweetie, do you want to learn about Taproot? Because Daddy knows a lot about it.
Yeah, I do. I can't listen like that. I have to like focus just on that, because if I even do dishes while listening, I missed everything I heard. I'm like, wow, I know there was some noise in my ear. What did I hear?
Yeah, it is hard, especially when you're going like 1.7x.
Oh.
That's how you do it. I see.
Oh yeah.
What is that? Why are we all so obsessed with Bitcoin? How does the mind virus get you? So like, cause I'll tell you, like, you know, 6 years ago or whatever, when I first bought Bitcoin, I didn't see myself like nonstop mainlining Bitcoin content 24/7, 365, you know?
Right.
Part of it, I think, is the community aspect. No, like for like the two guys who turned me into a Bitcoiner. Shout out to Matt and Marty. Like I was a shitcoiner. I started listening to them, and like it started happening. And you know, I think this happens with a lot of content that when you watch it on the regular, like you feel like you're friends with these people, and you want to continue that. And like, lucky for me, I became friends with these people. But like for people who are like living in places where there aren't a lot of Bitcoiners, you don't have people to talk to about Bitcoin. Like it's part of being, it's like going on Bitcoin Twitter. You're part of the community. So like you're checking in with your friends, Matt and Marty, or, you know, or Citizen Bitcoin each week to see what they're up to. So
yeah, I feel that. This is, Sailor was saying the other day on Swan Signal, like toward the end there, he was like, these are my people, right? I found my people. And he's like, it felt like when he was at MIT, and, you know, you kind of grow up being the nerd, the valedictorian in your little town or whatever. And then you go to MIT and everyone's the high school valedictorian and everyone is a genius. And you find your people. Like, this is what it's supposed to be like. These are the kind of people that, you know, motivate me, that inspire me. And that's what Bitcoin was for me. And I've said this in the past, like, I didn't know I was intellectually bored until Bitcoin. I was bored, you know, with my day job and everything. And I just, you know, found Bitcoin, and it was like, you know, that meme where you just like your brain lights up, you know?
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's my nationality is Bitcoin. Like that's part of my identity, way more than being American. You know, I feel like I'm a Bitcoiner, and I have more in common with Bitcoiners than with Americans. You know what I mean? That's like where I identify. I guess we're all into identity. That's my identity. Maybe I should change it on my passport. Stacy Herbert, Bitcoiner.
I'm starting to see Bitcoin as becoming like the biggest, best social network and professional network in the world, and that's kind of how we're starting to use that insight and that belief for all of our marketing for Swan. But like, it's also just clear. Like Wednesday night, got the kids to bed. My wife was at a friend's house hanging out, and you know, so it was probably like 10 p.m. and I was like, do I watch TV? Do I work more? Do I listen to a book or a podcast? I don't really want to. I just kind of like want to talk about Bitcoin. And within 5 minutes, I was in a Zoom call with me and somebody from New Zealand and somebody from Hungary and a couple more Americans. And there were 5 of us, and we talked for like an hour and a half about whatever. Didn't matter. You know, it's just like that's who you end up wanting to hang out with.
It's like tomorrow I'm doing Udi's VR thing, you know, and so I was just on like setting up the VR with him, and I'm just like, this is so wild. I'm like, I'm in a weird virtual room with this dude in Israel, and we're both aligned on Bitcoin, and like just this, where else do you get to do stuff like this? It also makes it really difficult, like to fully respect people who like where the conversation doesn't end with, and anyway, Bitcoin fixes this, right? Like, I don't want to have an hour-long political conversation with you about whatever the topic is that doesn't end with Bitcoin fixes this. Like, because that's where my brain goes every single time.
I also feel like, you know, there was a story from 2019 where this pre-Renaissance Florentine masterpiece from an artist, I believe his name is Cimabue, and he's only 11 paintings of his are in existence, but he's considered a grandmaster Italian painter. And one of his paintings was in this 95, 97-year-old lady's house who she didn't know how she got it. She had it as a kid, and she hung it over the stove. She thought it was a Greek Orthodox, painting. She thought it was a religious painting of something. Anyway, it turned out it auctioned for $26 million. It had been on her wall above her stove. It had some grime on it, some grease from the cooking. And, you know, from early Bitcoiners being back in 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, until the fork wars, you know, I kind of feel like that was my existence. I was that old lady with this masterpiece above her stove. Is like you had this Bitcoin and you didn't really understand just like how amazing it was. Like, the talk back then was we're going to outcompete Visa and MasterCard and PayPal, and we're going to be able to buy whatever. We're going to take over that whole system. And it was magic. First it was magic internet money. It was, weird hackers, geeks, and coders back in 2011 and 12. And so I feel like to me, I keep on always thinking of that moment as like, wow, I can't believe I just like randomly like left, the Bitcoin QT wallet that you just have to download and let it like a computer die and like, oh, well, throw it away. And like, who knows how many Bitcoin were on there? Like, cause it was magic, right? It was magic internet money. It was that masterpiece above the kitchen sink. And you're like, and now I try to always treat it like a masterpiece. Every single Satoshi. Oh.
Yeah, I think Safe's book was like the big turning point for a lot of people. When that was when you were like, oh fuck, oh yeah, I'm at the inflection point for like a 5,000 years changeover, right? And I get to take advantage of it and be a part of it, and like, holy shit, this is exciting, right? Outcompeting Visas is not exciting.
No, but I have an email from Safe when he was asking me how to buy his first Bitcoin. And I, at the time he was living in Beirut, and I said, I don't know, like what exchanges that work there. I don't know if you can use Mt. Gox there, but I was like, just try local Bitcoins. But I promise, don't yell at me. I said it was at $1,000, and now it's at 600. If it keeps falling, don't yell at me. I'm not to blame if you lose any money. And he bought it, and then it fell to 200, of course. So, that was a big crash back then. So,
yeah, in 2015, that bear market was very different than this current bear market, because people were like pretty convinced it was going to die. I mean,
oh, yeah.
And you were like the crazy person for hanging around, and there was this like fatalist attitude of like, yeah, we're just waiting around to see if we die. But then there was also this like sort of just underground, like, I know the mainstream narrative is one thing, but I'm pretty sure these are worth $1 million, right? Like, we still had that back then too. So it was like, yeah, I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna hang on to this.
Well, you see Hal Finney's stuff, and you look at it now, and you go, that dude saw the future. That like, it's so crazy.
Yeah, Hal Finney's the only person where is like, oh yes, here's this thing called Bitcoin. He's like, well, clearly this will be the reserve currency of the world, like
right?
Immediately,
I mean,
everybody else is like, I don't know. It's drug dealer money. It's this, it's that. Not Hal.
Hal goes, it could be $10 million a coin.
Yeah.
You got to like Tina level 10 years earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Someone did the math, right? For 100 SAST equal $1 if you added up M1, M2 money supply when in 2009, it was enough for 100 SAST equal $1. Like, I don't think that was unintentional. So I'm pretty sure Satoshi, whoever he, she, they were, was looking at replacing all the money. I'm pretty sure.
Well, you wonder. We'll never know what he, she, her intention, their intention was. Dude,
I've floated this theory on a couple other podcasts, but has anybody ever given serious consideration to the idea that Satoshi was an AI and sent back?
Max says that all the time.
Yeah, no, I know. Max said it became self-aware at block 300,000 right now. I think it sent back its own instructions for its so that we could build it, but it left just enough errors so that we corrected those small errors, and then we took ownership of it because it knew how humans operated.
It knew it was smart enough to be a shitty coder.
Yes, exactly. And thus it fulfills its own grandfather paradox because really we're the ones bringing it into being. It's not bringing itself into being.
I asked Adam Back that actually at the virtual Magical Crypto Conference. I mean, we froze in outer space a few times in the VR, but I did ask him about the shitty coding by Satoshi, and he seemed a little bit. He was unwilling as a coder to diss on another coder, so he refused to say that he was a bad coder. I think he was a little bit offended that a non-coder such as myself.
You were coding?
I don't code. I was just like passing hearsay along.
I mean, yeah, it's been said by many Bitcoin Core contributors or coders that it was just it was kind of a monolithic piece of spaghetti code that was like, genius in its architecture and pulling together of like, just high level computing ideas and networking ideas, but was not super well made.
That's one of the things that makes me think Hal was not involved, because Hal was supposed to be a legendary coder, was he not?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I spoke to Bram Cohen, and he's been public about this, but he's convinced it was Hal Finney just because he knew Hal, and he said Hal did that a lot. Like, he never took credit for huge things he released into the world in cryptography. That he never took. He was that sort of guy who wouldn't take credit, even though he changed like the world of cryptography in some small area that's huge to cryptographers, sort of thing.
I would love for it to be Hal. I really would.
It makes the most sense. And look, when you're just like I remember Satoshi saying like, I had to get the code right before I wrote the white paper, you just have all this, I can imagine just like ideating, you have all these ideas on how this thing should work. You just want to get it to the MVP, the least viable product, right? Most viable products.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm
have you guys
minimum viable?
Minimum. Thank you. That doesn't make any sense.
you know the expression, the only way to keep a secret between two people is if one of them are dead.
Yeah.
Well, I've always kind of thought it was Hal and Szabo, and they worked in concert. And the reason the secret is so easy to keep is because Hal's not with us anymore.
You've got an echo going, and I kind of love it. I don't know. We all do. Maybe it's just me. Add some
like we're in a stadium
to what we're saying.
Maybe it's only our version of the interface everybody else is hearing. Hey, leave your comment. Are you hearing echoes on us, or is it just us hearing each other?
You have no echo, Stacy.
That's because I have the professional mic. Hey, Max and I are thinking of doing a lifestyle branded shop. Like, I'm gonna make a tequila. If it worked for George Clooney, why not for me?
Stacy, I need Max's orange sunglasses. Please, please put them in the store.
Where did we got that on that cross-country journey we did for Gonzo.
Mm-hmm.
And he had to look Gonzo. He had to look like Hunter S. Thompson, right? So he got those glasses. Yeah, they're amazing. Where are they? Oh, look at this. Look at this. Always at the ready.
Oh, they're amazing.
Hey, yeah.
Do y'all know the story of what happened, what they did with Hunter S. Thompson's ashes? Have you heard this before?
Yeah, they fired him out of a cannon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you a story, but I don't know if I'm allowed to, but I'm going to tell it to you. But I know a guy who's a journalist who was a friend of Hunter S. Thompson's. And I don't know, one of the famous friends of, he went to the funeral and like there were all these famous people there. And one of his famous cartoonist friends or whatever said to my friend, the journalist, said, okay, I'm going to get up there. And when I'm doing this eulogy, I'm going to tell a joke, but I'm going to ask who in this room is a rich motherfucker. And he said, make sure to raise your hand. So this guy gets up to do the eulogy and says, who in this room is a rich motherfucker? And my friend, who has like 20 pounds to his name, he's British, raised his hand. And he looks around and Jack Nicholson looks at him like he's an asshole. Bill Murray looks at him like he's an asshole. And then the guy moved on. Didn't do the punchline. So it's just like the one guy in the audience who's worth like $100 raised his hand. And every rich guy like looked at him like he was an asshole for admitting it. But it just seems so Hunter S. Thompson. And then he said afterward he went to the cartoonist dude and was like, why'd you do that? He's like, oh, I forgot what the punchline was. I'm sorry, I forgot how to,
Ouch. That's real. That was the punchline,
Yeah.
like setting it up and not delivering the punchline. Ouch, man. That hurts.
have you seen those videos online of Hunter S. Thompson shooting at his neighbor?
Yeah.
No.
So good. So good.
Holy shit.
Him and his neighbor literally taking pot shots at each other,
Oh my God.
I live in Lawrence, Kansas, and William S. Burroughs, who was a friend with Hunter Thompson and back in those days, he lived in Lawrence these last 15 years of his life. Just this little house in like East Lawrence. And he was crazy mofo. He had insane parties. I got to go to one when I was in college. Guns all the time, like every party. It was like the point of the night, the guns would come out. And they're like target practices back there. And I don't know, man. He never got arrested. I think it was because he.
Not back in that day. We didn't have many Karens who called the police to complain. It was just like somebody shooting up something.
Well, people think of Burroughs. Oh, they think of Burroughs as the Tarzan guy, but he wrote this book called Junkie, which is hardcore. Check that book out.
He was a serious junkie.
Yeah.
Did anybody post this into our Orange Pill podcast group?
I did.
Oh, of course you did.
I'm sure we have some orange
diligent.
pillars here.
You what?
I'm sure we have some orange pillars in the house.
Yeah. Orange Pill representing. Post some comments. Is this going out on Periscope, YouTube?
Just those two, yeah.
Just those two.
It's going out. We're getting some good comments in the YouTube chat, but we can't display them for some reason today. But see you, folks.
Restream is kind of busted today between the echo, which is, I don't know. Did we find out, are people hearing an echo or is it just us here?
I don't hear an echo on you.
Somebody
I hear an echo.
I hear an echo.
I hear an echo. I hear an echo. I hear an echo.
Echo.
This would be a good meme. I hear an echo. Echo.
It
hey
says
guys,
Bitcoin.
Are we gonna run out of? Are we gonna run out of Bitcoin? I was reading, Ben Davenport from BitGo was tweeting that 83,000 Bitcoin were mined in the third quarter, and MicroStrategy and Square and Stone Ridge bought 169% of that. I was like, dude, like saves, like I want to keep on stacking now. I don't want these people in here.
It's our time is coming to an end. It's one of the most rare opportunities in the history of I'm sure you're doing a lot better than I am, Stacy, but just the fact that plebes like us could, front run Wall Street, when has that ever happened in history?
It's bananas. I had a conversation this morning with one of our investors who's been on Wall Street for 20 something years, and is actively having Bitcoin conversations with all the typical buy side types out there. And there's few things that were kind of interesting. One is they're all being very receptive to this idea that Coinbase going public will be like a big boost for the space and will cause kind of a frenzy. And those sort of conversations are already sort of begun with all the sell side firms and kind of thinking of how that IPO is going to go out. So that's one thing that's kind of interesting. And then they're getting a lot of traction pointing out the minimum levels of volatility from BitMEX's problems. And now even today he's had a couple conversations with the OKX thing. And it's just, the bid is so strong. There's so many people there ready to snap up any little dip. And it just seems very coiled and kind of ready to go. And then the third thing that kind of stuck out was how much money is just poised on the sidelines, ready to go right at 20K. Basically, as soon as you get back to all-time high, it's just like go time for all the institutional money. So, basically stack while you can, stack them while you got them. Yep. It's going to get bananas after 20K.
Really? That's interesting that they're going to come in then. That's good to know.
Yeah, they want to wait till it's proven itself, right? And then capture all the upside. I think the interesting thing will be, do some of these guys start to switch and utilize Bitcoin as their unit of account? Or do they still have the dollar as their unit of account? In which case, we're going to see another crash for sure, because they just want the gains in dollars and then get back out, right?
Crashes.
Yeah.
I like waking up to them and saying, oh, yes. Yes. I'm glad I bought the dip. Yes. Thank you, Satoshi.
I mean, you're able to market, right? So if you're talking about companies and investors putting it on their balance sheet, they don't have to sell. They just have to log the value in dollars of the Bitcoin. So,
but it's still, there's a psychological principle that lives, in the heads of all the investors. And it takes a while, I think, for you to switch over your personal unit of account to Bitcoin. Like I now value my net worth in Satoshis, which is actually disconcerting because I do have a fiat denominated part of my net worth that is, going down. So
I think there's two things, there's two curves at work here, as far as I can tell. There's one that's these cycles that are sort of halvings driven. And then the other one is, an S curve, an adoption curve of a new technology.
Yeah.
And, I was talking to Bitcoin Tina yesterday, and I completely agree with this, and something he keeps on harping on. It's the slope of the upslope on the S curve for Bitcoin may be steeper than any other technology ever, because it's money, because it's value, and because people can get rich from it. So it's not like, oh, how cool, my friends are on Facebook, I'm going to have some fun clicking around and liking, and oh, look, I got a date, nice. It's freaking money. Money is power. Money is, helpful for dating. Let's say, it kind of, it fixes all your problems. Bitcoin fixes all your personal problems too. So yeah, it could just go absolutely bananas. And then if it's an S curve, you may not actually see the cycles, because the S curve thing could just absolutely dominate the minor trend of what's been going on with super early adopters and innovators, which are, sub 1% of the population so far have been the people participating in these halvings driven cycles. But when the adoption of Bitcoin as a money and a technology takes off, it will absolutely dwarf whatever influence is left over from halving cycles.
Well, that's the big risk, right? I mean, if you think you're so fucking clever because you watched 2017 play out, and you try and time the top, and then you sell your stack, and then you can't get back in, yada yada. So there's a lot of risk to not hodling. Hodling is the optimal strategy.
Always has been, always will be.
Always will be.
You guys hearing better?
This is much better. I don't know what happened, but Restream sorted it out.
We're good.
No, I think it was me. I think I had you guys up too loud.
It was you the whole time.
It was me.
I was muting and unmuted her too, just to see if it was working, and we got it good. So
nice. There we
Wow.
go.
Makes sense.
So what do you think about that whole lifestyle brand of Max and Stacy? You know, his lifestyle is keto desserts. We've started eating these liver crisps.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I
They
saw
They're
that.
good.
I meant to order them. They're good.
Yeah, I know. He's this company Carnivore Aurelius is quite known in the Bitcoin community. It is so freaking good. And the guy who owns it sent me, when I ordered some, he sent an email just saying I keep stacking sats.
That's
so I think
awesome.
he's a part of the community.
I love
But
it.
they're like addicting. They're really expensive, but I figure it's worth it.
I love the Bitcoin adjacent communities, like the 3D printer gun guys are all stacking sats. The carnivores are all stacking sats. You know, who else? There's a bunch of good communities.
Yeah, well, we're starting to see some pickup, interestingly, through the armed forces, which is pretty cool.
That's
so
cool.
we're talking to them more and like learning their language and learning how they save and what matters to them, and safe and easy, but also totally legal, and all that kind of stuff. So that's interesting. Another group that's just going bananas for Bitcoin is doctors, because they just have a lot of excess cash, and they're just like they're sick of seeing their ice cube melt, right?
That's good too, because in 2017 I was in a doctor's lounge and they were all in on shitcoins. All the interns were talking about EOS and Litecoin and this, and doctors are fucking terrible investors too, the worst of the worst.
What sort of questions are the military guys asking?
It's mostly, so we've got some Swan users, some Swan members that are members of the services, and I've just been kind of like picking their brains and talking to them. They're not necessarily willing to come on camera the way some of our other members go and do shows with Brekkie and stuff. But yeah, it's just helping us think through the messaging about, really separating Bitcoin from anything sort of, scammy or dangerous. And really, you've got to get it to the point where, like, if your CO found out that you were buying Bitcoin, he'd go, cool.
Yeah.
And that's where you want to be. And so, creating landing pages where you kind of describe it in those terms, and understanding, they don't have 401ks. I forget what it's called. It's like a
TSP.
TSP. Yeah. TSP. Yeah. So stuff like that.
I mean, there's an argument to be made, and I believe it, that, and a lot of people make it, that Bitcoin is good for America. It aligns with like the actual ideals of freedom, I think we got to lean into that. I think these soldiers might, there's like the number go up argument, but, patriotism is real. But what is patriotism, And I think supporting Bitcoin might be one of the more patriotic things you can actually do.
I think Satoshi was American. I think Bitcoin has a lot of American ideals encoded in it. Not whatever this new Frankenstein America is, but I'm talking about the revolution, like the American Revolution, what the founders set down in our Constitution.
The Enlightenment.
Exactly. And Bitcoin is, America was the world city upon a hill for the last, 200 some odd years. And now it's Bitcoin because the world has fallen into darkness. And so you always got to move to the frontier, right? Like, when Bitcoin fails, then we'll go into cyberspace. And then, Bitcoin's never going to fail. What am I talking about?
Hey, 1971. What the fuck happened in 1971? It's the 50-year anniversary next year, 3 months from now.
That's
prophetic.
Bananas. Yeah.
Is this year over in 3 months? Oh my God.
Yeah, it is.
2.5, man. What are we doing for white paper anniversary? It's Halloween, right?
Yeah.
I think we all need costumes.
Dye our hair orange.
We'll go as a big white paper.
There you go. I think it's a Saturday. I'm not sure I'm going to commit to a Swan Lounge on a Saturday. Brady, you're still on mute,
an orange wig. So
I've been thinking about dyeing the hair and the beard orange for Bitcoin.
You're quite dark though, so you'd have to bleach it first and then dye it.
Yeah.
Do you know how to do that? I could teach you. I'm offering classes. I've learned how to do this myself in lockdown.
I don't know that I would trust myself. I'd probably splurge and go to a salon and have them. Give me
Well,
beautiful Bitcoin
because
art.
of lockdown, I haven't gone out, and I've taught myself all this stuff because I did accidentally turn my hair bright orange recently, and I was like, oh shit! And I went out to the kitchen, and Max was sitting there having coffee, and he's like, hey, you look great. And I was like, right, I know, right? And then I went on YouTube, found the answers, how to fix it, and I sorted it out. But things could go horribly wrong in DIY situation at home.
I mean, the Satoshi mask, the Lucho style Satoshi mask.
Yeah,
that's all we need. Has Lucho started selling those yet? Like actual masks, Brekkie? Can you get those?
No, I don't think so. But you can get one on Amazon and put your own little Bitcoin on there pretty easily.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
but that's coming up soon. You guys are gonna have to do it the Friday before, so the 30th. You're gonna have to do a celebration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can do that. We'll have some we'll have some keto desserts. Keto candy.
Oh, Max just gave me the best keto chocolate cake. You wouldn't believe it.
Oh man, I don't believe it.
We got to do a 24-hour live stream. I've been talking about this, like a telethon. Like sign up as many Bitcoin. as you can.
Yeah, Bitcoin Mag did that for the half.
Dude,
Mm-hmm.
you guys should do a telethon, but instead of getting money from people, you're just having customers stack, and then they stack up to a certain total. That would be awesome.
Oh, that's a good idea, dude.
We should totally do that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Hey, today's around in the days of Bitcoin faucets.
Yes, I remember the faucets.
Oh fuck! I can't believe I didn't collect more of that free Bitcoin.
They still had faucets when I was around like late 2014, and I remember looking at them and being like, what is it? It's giving like 0.08 or something, which is today like I don't know, it's $80 or something. Like I could have just been smashing that
yes.
Button, It seemed like nothing at the time.
I lost some faucets. I don't know where they are. I can't find them. Not a lot.
YouTube chat is down with the Halloween telethon.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
I like the telethon idea, except everybody just stacks sats. That's a fucking.
You could do it on. We might need a little bit more time to prep. Maybe we could do it on Genesis Day. That'd be cool. 3rd.
Can we call up all of our customers and like just talk to them live? It's like, hey, you're live on Swan Lounge. I want to let you know that it's white paper day. Do you want to smash by?
Yeah, well, that's what I was about to say. I think we need smash buys to make this happen. So.
Max actually has fantasies about doing telethons. He talks about it all the time, like the Jerry Lewis telethon, and he's like,
Max is meant for telethons.
Yeah,
we should do it together. No, we should do it together, and we should have Orange Pill and us and Valor and like 10 different podcasts, and each one gets a slot, and we just somehow like collect pledges of stacking.
Every hour is a different podcast. That comes on.
Oh, you know what we do? You know what we do? We raise money for the devs, for Matt's dev list.
Yeah.
24-hour live stream to raise a bunch of money for the devs.
That's a great idea.
That is a good idea.
There you go.
Yeah.
We could even use Restream and have multiple people on making calls, and then when somebody gets a live caller, then we put them on, and now we're live.
Yeah.
I always like the people in the background who were answering the phones. I always would watch their faces.
Totally.
Mr. Jones, are you willing to commit $10 a month right now to the Bitcoin core developers? This will sustain the network and secure your Bitcoin holdings.
Do you guys remember the telethons they had after 9/11? They were like insane. They were raising like $25-30 million. They were like full of celebrities. It's crazy.
Oh no, I was in Europe at the time.
You know what else we could do though is if you remember like the old school, I think they're still around, the infomercials where we've only got 50 of these beautiful diamond necklaces left, and then you could see the number ticking down as they're selling them. But we could do that with actual Bitcoin because there's only 21 million. The number's actually going down.
That's right.
Home Satoshi Network.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Home Satoshi Network.
We're
running out of Bitcoin. There are only 2.4 million left. Get yours now while you can.
There will only ever be 21 million.
And then we can track all the boating accidents. How many have been lost in boating accidents?
And Michael Saylor's already bought most of them, so.
Has he had a boating accident yet?
He owns several yachts. So.
He's ready.
He's been preparing for this boating accident excuse for years. He's even doing interviews from the yacht, so it's like so obvious when he loses the Bitcoin to be like, "Oh yeah, that's believable."
I'm trying to get the 100K party moved to Michael Saylor's yacht, man. I'm like, hey, let's do it on your yacht, bro. Hey, come on.
Yeah, I mean, by then he can just buy another one, and we can, just tie them all together.
Oh man.
Just imagine the yacht he'll have, at hyper Bitcoinization. It'd be a space yacht.
You got to have a lot of money to throw away to own a yacht. It's we used to live in Villefranche-sur-Mer, where there was like all the yachts, all the most famous Russian oligarchs and Paul Allen and Roman Abramovich, all their yachts were there, and those things cost a fortune to run. I mean, it's insane.
I mean, the upkeep, you pay $2 million in upkeep just per year and fuel.
And now they're getting to a competition. It's like a dick measuring competition where they're like, this yacht cost $1 billion. This yacht cost $1.5 billion, whatever.
No, but like even, so a friend of mine worked on one of the royal family yachts of one of the Middle East countries. And the royal family only ever attended once a year. They were there for 2 weeks, but every single week, the entire year, they spent almost $20,000 on flowers for the yacht.
Just in case they wanted to stop by. Yeah.
But just in case.
That's crazy.
That's real fuck you money. That's
some fiat bullshit. That's what that is now.
Yeah, just pumping oil.
It is more money than you know what to do with. There was I was in, I think Monaco or somewhere in Europe, and I see a yacht, and I see this like the garage of the yacht open, and like a gold-plated Bentley or something comes rolling out, and it has Saudi plates, and I see it drive away, and I asked somebody next, I was like, they just drive with their Saudi plates, and they don't give a shit. It's like,
oh yeah. Oh yeah, you see that when you live in the south of France or even in London, you see them driving around.
Yeah, the royal family often, well, some of them anyway, fly their cars into LA for the summers. So
they all have 747s and stuff. I made a documentary series with this famous photographer David Bailey, and he flew around with the now Emir of Qatar, but at the time he was the prince. And, he was just like tell these stories, like flying around in like 2 747s, one with the wives and kids and cars and staff. And they would go to like a shop in Switzerland to buy a watch. And there were 2 of these watches. And the prince would say like, you have 2 of these. He's like, well, I'm going to buy this, but I'm going to buy the other one and you're going to destroy it. I don't want a second one to exist. And the shop would be like, okay, like, and he'd buy them each for $2 million. And then one of them would be destroyed. So the other one would have more value. And he also talked about the story. He went, I don't know, like the top hotel in Paris. And they show up at the front desk and the royal suite wasn't available. And this prince of Qatar was like, oh, that's really interesting. And then the manager said, can you wait a few moments? I'll check on this. And whoever was in the royal suite got kicked out because this guy got the room.
This is more royal.
Yeah, you just bought that person off, man. So we got a heck of a discussion going on in the chat here. Now we got to pose it to everybody else. So who's which famous and/or influential person would you most want to see get into Bitcoin big time? Like we saw with Saylor now. Like who's out there? We got some great answers in the chat, which we'll kick to. But around the horn, Whoever wants to go first.
I mean,
Hard.
Joe Rogan would be, I think a good choice in terms of just like the return on investment. Because the Square's already advertising on there, but if he could just do like a Bitcoin month where he just has like all like orange pills, entire cast. Yeah, right. Well, you know how he does like these month themes or whatever. He could do, instead of Sober October, he could do like, Bitcoin January. I don't know for Genesis Day, and like just talk to a bunch of Bitcoiners like every podcast. That'd be pretty sick. I have other ideas, but that one.
So I want to make this happen, but I think I want to get Greta on Marty's pod, and I want Marty to convince Greta that Bitcoin is good for the environment, and then I want Greta to become a Bitcoiner and go out into the world and convince all of her people that Bitcoin is great, and then boom, hyper Bitcoinization.
That'll do it.
Bitcoin is good for the environment.
How dare you?
So we've got Elon a few times in the chat. I love
Elon would be good.
Dave Chappelle is actually an awesome call.
Who was it?
Who?
Dave Chappelle would
Dave
be
Chappelle.
amazing.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I'm gonna go with.
I was thinking actually the black community is the most likely to be, somebody like Kanye or Jay-Z or somebody will be.
Kanye likes Bitcoin. He's already.
I was gonna say Drizzy Drake, my boy Drake. He needs to
he'd
start
be
rapping about Bitcoin.
Snoop Dogg.
Drake would be huge. LeBron.
Well, Snoop.
Dr. Dre mentioned Bitcoin on a track, but it wasn't a ringing endorsement. It was just like, hey, Bitcoin.
No, I think Nas is a Bitcoiner also.
Yeah, Nas mentioned Bitcoin on a track.
How about Jerome Powell?
Yeah, Jerome Powell, obviously.
I haven't heard his rap. Is he any good? Is he a good rapper?
Trump, obviously if Trump comes out and is like, Bitcoin's the greatest, I love it, we're going to make it the new standard, that would be amazing for all of us.
Well, definitely Trump's sons are totally into Bitcoin because Matthew Mellon, I know for a fact, because he was sitting with us and was texting them. And, he was talking to them about Bitcoin. So I know his sons are into Bitcoin because of Matthew Mellon.
Somebody,
Nice.
Queen Elizabeth III. I think that's
Queen Elizabeth. Who's another good one?
I'm sure Prince Harry could possibly be into it.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
That's a good one.
Oprah, you get a Bitcoin and you get a Bitcoin.
Love that.
That was mentioned in the chat, by the way. Oprah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't me.
No, let's see.
I want to see Putin go full Bitcoiner at some point.
He is full Bitcoin. Are you kidding me? If he's not using Russian oil to mine Bitcoin right now, I'll eat my maximalist hat.
Oh,
He's Ethereum, bro.
Guy totally gets it. You could see, first of all, what he's doing with the gold purchases versus oil. What he's doing is converting based on oil versus the oil to gold ratio. Like that, Russia was stacking it at all-time highs for like how much gold you could buy for oil. They were like smashing into gold, and I know for a fact they have. Well, I don't know for a fact, but I know for a fact in my heart that they must have. They understand what Bitcoin was, especially that answer he gave to that video blogger in 2018, where he like completely understood the difference between digital currency and cryptocurrency. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see how that sovereigns plays out because there's some hodlers out there and they're just not the game theory is just not right for them to disclose at this point.
Yeah.
No, but back in like 2012 and 13, like any conference you would go to, it would be like so many Eastern Europeans, Bitfury included, that were like controlling the mining space because of all the subsidized energy prices that they had. So I think they were already aware, like you don't have that sort of commerce happening there without the officials knowing what's going on. What is this thing you're doing? How are you raking in $2 billion a year? What's going on?
The Hungarian that joined our little impromptu chat on Wednesday night was pretty convinced and had decent information that their authoritarian Viktor Orban and his crew have been stacking.
Really?
which is not
wouldn't
surprising.
be surprised at all. Like Eastern Europe already knew about this for a long time.
Yeah, and then our our Venezuelan friends like El Sultan, BTC Venezuela, they say Maduro and his whole crew are stacking
totally.
sats.
I think US Gov is stacking by going after BitMEX because there's a huge honeypot there for them.
Not going to make the same mistake that they made with.
Oh, keep it this time, Brady.
Yeah, not going to make the same mistake they did with Silk Road.
I think Kim Jong-un is stacking, and he's the one who's been reporting American Hodl because his tweets are too bullish, and he just wants to shut that shit down.
Let's see what else we got in the chat. We got a Hulk Hogan. We got a strong hands. We got a Leo DiCaprio. We got Keanu Reeves. Cory can tell a little story about Keanu Reeves. Warren Buffett, Kim K. There's another Keanu. Yeah, I think Cory has talked to Keanu about Bitcoin, right?
I have attempted in person to red pill Keanu, and I do have him on email, and I drip something over every few months or so. It hasn't taken yet.
What was your pitch?
Keanu Reeves is actually like the single coolest, massive celebrity. He is so cool and down to earth. Like I used to live in near La Brea in Wilshire, and he used to go to this club called the King's. What was it? King's Head, and it was just like a Bruce Willis would go there and play harmonica and shit like that, and there was like 6 or 7 people in there. So Keanu would always be there and just like sitting on his own, just like in the corner listening to music. But one morning, and like he was hot, right? Okay, and like I was like 20, and one morning I came out of my apartment building to move my car before I got a parking ticket, and I had these bright yellow, skin tight, sort of like crazy leggings, and a ripped up white t-shirt, and my hair was like insane. I was like, oh, well, nobody's going to be here, right? It's like Saturday morning at 7 or 8 in the morning. I'm going to run out and go move my car. And I go out to move my car. I'm the only one there except for one guy standing there in the middle of the sidewalk. And I'm like, that's fucking Keanu Reeves. Like, what the hell is he doing here? And he's just standing there like, and I'm walking by like trying to hide myself, like to disguise my disaster. And he's like, hi. And I was like, hi. And I was like, fuck you. Why do you see me in this moment?
Should have doubled down on that, Stacy. And been like, Keanu, it was a wild night last night.
On a Saturday.
Had a wild night last night. Why don't you give me your number and I'll call you next time we go out.
Have you?
No, he's just like, but he radiated like kindness. Like he's just like a nice guy.
So what do you think about Bitcoin, Cory?
Okay, so I was just over at Cross Creek in Malibu, just like working from the coffee bean and tea leaf down there. And, people stop by and just grab coffees and stuff, like not really paying attention much. There's one outdoor table that has an outlet. So I kind of used to post up there and work for a few hours. And, 3 guys pull up in motorcycles and they got all their gear and everything. And the bikes look nice. And I'm not really paying much attention as they come in and, get their coffee. I kind of looked up, looked back down, still cranking away. And they come back out with their coffees and, they got some frou-frou drinks with some ice and stuff like that. It's kind of a hot morning. And I'm like, they stayed for a while. And I was like, man, they got some dope outfits. And these guys all look like movie stars. It was like him and 2 buddies. But I didn't really make the connection because it was one of his periods where it was like full facial hair, neck beard style. Yeah. Totally covered basically. So I just I didn't, make eye contact, not really like harassing people or whatever, but it became clear that, okay, that's, probably Keanu, right. At some point. Cause I knew he was into bikes and like, you're in the neighborhood, you're in Malibu and like, he kind of looks like Keanu. So I'm like, it probably is him. Wasn't going to go bother him. I didn't really have anything to say that popped into mind and not really my style anyway. But then some girls came over and like started like chatting them and, they seemed like super nice and not bothered by it at all. And they were still hanging there. And 2 of them smoked a cigarette. I won't say which to leave open the possibility that Keanu didn't smoke a cigarette. And then I realized, oh my God, like, what if he doesn't know? what if he doesn't know? What if he doesn't know that, half the memes in Bitcoin are matrix memes and that we talk about red pilling? Like, I mean, he is not like out there on social media all the time. Maybe he's just like, just hangs with his friends and none of them are Bitcoiners. And like, it might be my duty to go and like, let him know how important he and, the matrix and all of that is to Bitcoin. And this analogy that we all use, like somebody should probably tell him. I think I might have a duty to go and like, at least let him know. So I did. So I popped over there, to these guys hanging by their bikes, finishing up their coffees and, just like, hey, big fan. I'm not going to bother you. Tell me to go away whenever you want to, but I just thought you should know that like, I'm super into Bitcoin and have you heard of it? Yeah. And what ended up happening is his buddy, that's like his partner in the motorcycle business, they make their own motorcycles, super polite guy, but actually had all of the FUD at his fingertips. So he basically not bought into Bitcoin, but had all of the bad, stupid narratives. Like, he had like 7 of them. So I basically got to go and just like FUD bust, not having to do it to Keanu, but doing it to his buddy for like 10 minutes and just kind of having a good conversation and answered all the guys' questions, Keanu listening to all of it. And then at the end of it, he was like, email me if you want to. And he gave me a real email address that didn't bounce. And he hasn't responded. It's been about 10 months now, probably. But I've sent 3 emails and it's probably worth trying again. I think maybe I'll wait till all-time high and then try again. Cause maybe the news will be bolstering it a little bit and help us along.
Maybe we should get him in one of our comics.
Put him in that.
Show him his name.
I've also been trying to get in touch with Larry Fishburne's agent. Just get him to do some Swan stuff. Like he's totally the Swan. So,
dude, has anybody heard Bitstein's story about when he met Mark Cuban and he shilled Mark Cuban outside a steak place? Mark Cuban, he was a poor college kid when he met him. And Mark Cuban, they argued back and forth. Then he gave him his email. And Bitstein went home with this billionaire's email address, thought to himself, if I give a billionaire all the information I know about Bitcoin, then he's going to go buy all the Bitcoin. So no, I'm not going to email him. And then he sat on it. He fucking sat on it for years. Amazing.
That's awesome.
That's hilarious, man. I remember him talking about it on Twitter.
Yeah.
He tweeted about it like that night.
Him and Cuban tweet back and forth. Yeah, and then he sent Cuban an email in like 2017, like, I told you, bitch. Like, whatever. Whatever.
Yeah.
So I know you mentioned Joe Rogan, but I see that whenever he even tries to mention or talk about Bitcoin, like he gets bombarded with shitcoiners. So, I mean, I could see when a guy's really busy like that, you just get bombarded with people like spreading FUD to you without, it must be hard for them. It's not like they have days and days and days to sit down and read every like Bitcoin standard and things like that. Like they just get confused and turned off, right?
Yeah. Joe Rogan just got $100+ million payday, right? Like, I think the simplest thing is like, bro, your money could go away if you don't buy some Bitcoin, That's the simplest way to shield Joe Rogan.
I mean, if you got Michael Saylor on Joe Rogan, by the end of the episode, Joe Rogan would have like at least 5% of his stack into Bitcoin and just be on his way, man.
I think we gotta send Safety in as our emissary, because the fiat food thing I think would be big for Rogan.
That's true.
So. Yeah.
Safe would be good. Breedlove would be good.
Breedlove would do good too.
Breedlove is on the next episode of Orange Pill Podcast out on Sunday morning at 6 a.m. Super cool. We had a really amazing conversation.
Your favorite Bitcoin philosopher?
Yeah, there are a few because I'm really big into the whole Renaissance 1.0. So, this 2.0 and the Enlightenment as well. So anybody who's like taking it to that sort of level, I'm really interested in that more than say the technical and mundane sort of important parts of Bitcoin. But I like the whole the consciousness shift that we're going through.
Yeah. We're going to get a renaissance for sure, because It's not like the Renaissance didn't happen on a fiat standard; it happened on a gold standard. You know, during a golden age.
Say it,
another one.
Say it, Brady. I know you want to. Say it.
It's the dawn of the Bitcoin Renaissance.
Here we go.
No doubt about it.
I mean, remember the Renaissance happened just after the Black Plague, in the midst of the Black Plague and the Inquisitions. So one of the Inquisitions.
We got both of those going on right now.
Yeah. So, well, I think all these things happen in cycles for a reason. You know, the why you turn to a Renaissance is because, you know, the institutions failed in the Black Plague. The fact that the church had no answer for what was happening. People were dropping dead. Half of Europe dropped dead, and they were like, you know, there's something in the air, and we don't know. Like, nobody, they didn't have an explanation. So the faith in the institutions collapsed. We see the collapse in the faith of institutions in America happening. We are the empire now. We are the ruling paradigm around the world, and I think we're seeing a collapse in faith. Then we have this pandemic. Then everybody's locked down. They have to learn things. Like I had to relearn how to cook and grind my coffee beans and do all sorts of stuff that was so mundane and basic. But I was like, how do I do this? How do I take care of myself? I forgot how to do this.
Yeah.
It's good
how
for
to eat well, how to eat keto, how to take care, make sure you're healthy enough if you get hit by this virus.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty clear that we're on the backside of the empire, that the empire is in steep and rapid decline. And it kind of sucks to live through it, but there's going to be a lot of opportunities, you know.
On the other side, it's going to be better. Look at Europe.
Yeah.
If you look at any European lives a way better lifestyle than the ordinary American, and they already went through their empire. So they're post-empire, and it might get better like that. It's our choice. We can make it better or we can make it worse.
America's definitely got a lot going for us, not necessarily as a nation, but just geographically, demographically,
it's beautiful too.
There's a lot of opportunity left. It's not the end of America, you know.
We get a bad rap too, but I mean, you go to any of the centers of power, any of the brain trusts in America, you know, DC, LA, fucking Silicon Valley, wherever, New York. Like, there are really, really smart people, top talent of the world. The problem is they've been given this shit sandwich to work with, which is these fraudulent institutions. And you can't change it because it's set to collapse. Like, you've been given an unwinnable problem because of the monetary economics. Like, all the institutions have been whole cloth fraudulent for at least the last 30 years, if not the last 50 years, you know?
It's the fourth turning, bro. It's the fourth turning, bro.
Exactly.
We're bringing down the institutions. Brekkie and Brandon and I talked about this on Citizen Bitcoin yesterday for an hour and a half. So if you want to talk about the fourth turning and generational changes and cycles and all that, that's what we talked about last year. It was great.
I never read the fourth turning, but you can just see it if you're paying attention. You know?
Well,
they lied. Lying is their business model.
The biggest takeaway I had from yesterday, Brady, was in actually thinking of Bitcoin as a new type of institution. I hadn't thought of it that way. You know, Bitcoin it's going to replace our institutions because we can actually trust Bitcoin.
A decentralized consensus building institution. If you think of democracy as an attempt at a consensus building institution as a response to an autocracy, a monarchy, then we're moving toward an even more decentralized consensus building mechanism with money, and who knows what's going to happen with governing and law establishment and all that stuff after this.
I've talked a few times about Bitcoin maybe being the fifth turning, that you don't have to do these cycles anymore.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Right.
Well, it seems like it's our only option to escape a violent regime change, right?
Yeah.
Maybe the world's only option ever, because there's never been a non-violent regime change in the history of humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking of that when you go look through the cycles of history from back to the Egyptians and Babylonians and the Romans and the Greeks it just seems like there might be a break from that thousands of years of history. Like, this is something so different and so weirdly peaceful, and that we were at the top of this conversation, we were talking about Bitcoin as a sort of identity and a nation. This is your passport. So you know, one thing that rulers and empires through history have always counted on, you know, your domestic population hating other populations, and so conveniently you can go just plunder that other population. These evil people, we must go plunder them to teach them a lesson. And obviously you grow your wealth that way. But it seems like because we're all Bitcoiners now, and it started from the bottom, like it's a bottom up thing. It's not these like lords and aristocrats who had it first, or these emperors and kings. It's the people. You know, I think it's going to be harder for them to con everybody into violence and you know, plunder and chaotic collapse.
And also, you know, how efficient is that plunder and that violence in a Bitcoinized future, right? You can't just march in and take the gold sitting in one central location. You'd have to like individually interrogate and, you know, basically torture each member of the population. And that's assuming, you know, they haven't just like burned the keys to fuck you over.
They all haven't had tragic voting accidents already.
Right, exactly. Or they, you know, they haven't. I think in the future we'll get even more, even better security, like defensive technologies, where, you know, it's literally impossible to wrench attack you. I think that's coming also.
Yeah, it's kind of there already.
Kind of, but not 100%, because, you know,
Yeah.
you can still put a gun to my head and drive me to a couple different locations. And
Yeah.
It's just harder. It's harder.
It's harder. Yeah. All right, guys, this has been a lot of fun. We're at an hour and a half.
Brekkie, do you want to debut one little visual before we drop?
Yeah, we can do that. So, ladies and germs, we've been working on something pretty cool. We hired Tommy from Bitcoin Magazine to design some characters for us. And we're going to be dropping a bunch of comics and hopefully some animations. And we're just going to have a lot of fun with these characters and see where they go. But we've got our assets. We've started using them. So let me screen share.
We've got our 3 stars. There's going to be some co-stars coming down the road, right?
But ladies and germs, this is the Swan. He's always found wearing a midnight blue tuxedo. He's very classy. He's British. And here he is. Do you even auto stack, bro?
He's not going to have a British accent.
No.
I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. Anyway, the Swan is sort of like a half Morpheus, half James Bond type, and would be played by Idris Elba if there was somebody in the suit.
Yes.
So he is British. He is British.
Yeah, but he's also kind of like Stringer Bell, you know. So guy can do a lot of different accents. We'll see. We're feeling into it.
He's got
what he looks like.
He's got at least 7 passports.
A Scouser accent.
Hmm?
He should have a Scouse accent, like Liverpool accent.
Liverpool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Liverpool.
Yeah.
And when I was in the Beatles, I thought we were the best band in the universe.
Brady, can you top up STI Guy Bob's?
The people of Liverpool are so cool.
That's
They're
Brekkie.
my favorite.
Should we show the rest of the characters real quick or no? I've got them.
Yeah.
We
show them
should.
all.
But wait, we want to put up this comment apparently. Oh yeah, that's good.
Shout out, Bob.
Sty Guy Bob. Can you put that up, Rick?
Yeah, where is it?
We love you. Sorry,
it's so hard.
Hey, we're trying. We're trying. I have been live on YouTube and Twitter every day, or 3 days this week. All right.
Oh, this.
So,
don't go, guys. Then I have to go back to my no coiner friends.
Don't go, guys.
Love it.
We feel for you. We
That's what it's getting like with our Telegram group, Orange Pill Podcast. Oh my God. You know, I wake up in the morning and I go there and all the guys have descended into a fist fight. And I have to okay, guys, stop fighting. The next one to throw a cuss word is banned. And then they all shut up. And then it's like, okay. Jeez, every night.
And then they're like, oh, it was a misunderstanding. You're just catching up. We're friends again now. Don't worry about it, Stacy.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
That sounds like a walk in the park compared to the Taco Plebe chat.
Yeah.
The what?
That's the most That's the most toxic Telegram in existence, really, not just in Bitcoin.
Are you still in that? Haven't been?
Someone
No,
hi to me.
I jump in every like 6 months and call Dieter a bunch of slurs, and then I jump back out.
Got it. All right, folks. Here are Max and the White Rabbit, as well as the Swan, in all their glory. Take a look. Max is short for maximalist, of course. We've got White Rabbit wearing a bomber jacket. With
her name is Maxine. I don't know what you're talking about.
Maxine.
Inspired by Max.
Exactly. That's why she's orange. Yes.
Max.
We may or may not.
Donnie Darko.
Make it full screen again.
No, Stacy, don't say Donnie Darko.
Oh my God, I love that film. It's a chick flick.
All right.
Yes. So yeah, there's Max, who's kind of like a blend of like Trinity and the bride from Kill Bill. We've got the Swan, who's a little Bond and a little Morpheus, and then we haven't decided what to call the rabbit. He's just Rabbit, but he's like a mix of Neo and Pete Mitchell from Top Gun, Maverick.
Call him Hal.
That's pretty good.
That's on the list actually. That's a really good one. It's a good call.
He looks like a Hal. Plus,
He does look like a Hal.
Hal was cool as shit.
Yeah, I like that.
That's really good, and it all ties in. Max, Hal, and the Swan. It's hard to beat that combo.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I think that's the default win on. This is why we have creative people on the show, because
we steal your ideas. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Make Max's boobs bigger also. That's just a side note.
Oh my God.
And we'd cut
Gotta
this.
get the people stacking, bro. Come on. I'm just
Listen, after our incredible hype video is now trailing Bull 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 by like 500,000 video views.
Yeah.
We have been wondering, should we just be doing like, Black Swan and White Swan ballerina videos talking about Bitcoin, or, I don't know. Give
hot
people
chick
what they
sell.
want.
It does.
Should we talk about that? Is that video a net positive or net negative for us?
Bull.
Yeah.
It's all good for Bitcoin. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right.
It's very earnest, which I like.
Well, I did hear she was hired by like a pretty bad like altcoin / techie info seller scammer over in Europe. I don't know if it's true or not, but
She's dead to me then. Sorry, girl.
Hodl, do you remember Rebecca Black in Friday?
Oh yeah.
That's what it reminded me of.
It's
right?
Friday.
Friday.
Gotta get down
But
on Friday.
It was like really earnest, but really bad.
Yeah.
And so, you kind of feel for him. But it's still just like everyone. And it's like the 3 words, Friday. And then bull. And like, that's it. I mean, it is kind of genius. We're all about like the 3-word memes, right?
I don't know. Friday sounds like a Grammy winner now.
You just kind of think, it's a little bit. I could see, the blessing and the curse of women, especially young women, is that we're born the beautiful sex, but there are very many genius sort of. My mother was a genius. She was actually like a Mensa genius scientist, but super model, beautiful, and. Men would do the same thing and be like, "Oh my God, holy shit, she's so beautiful!" And all my high school boyfriends would fall in love with her instead. And be like, "I want your mom," But the fact is, that's a difficult line for on the female side of the equation. Is like, okay, a woman gets half naked and dances, and I could see like it draws some people, young men, into Bitcoin. But at the other side of the equation, like we have a lot of Bitcoin core developers now, women contributing to the Bitcoin core code, and some amazing Bitcoin and Lightning companies being run by women who don't ever have to dance half naked to get attention. So it's
Thank you, Stacy.
It's what?
I said thank you.
I mean, but I understand. I mean, women are beautiful, so it's I understand. We were talking about art and Renaissance art, like it's all about beautiful women and the female form, and it's hard to deny that beauty. You can't deny that exists, and it's something to be appreciated. But there is also
not quite, the Madonna, but
or the Venus, right?
or the Venus. No,
Yeah.
It's what we got in this fiat society these days. It's the Venus of the times.
Sty Guy Bob says Stacy has goddess blood confirmed.
I have the blood of a Spartan. That's what they tell me.
I love it. I love it.
All right. This is awesome.
Yeah, it was. This is why we do this.
Good to see you guys.
It's good to see you.
Thank you so much. This is fun to have Sats Margs and Orange Pill outside of my normal day of having a margarita.
I did not fill my tea mug with whiskey, but it's coming soon.
Sure you didn't.
All
right, guys. Next Friday.
Right.
I don't know who
Thanks
we're
for
going to have on
having
this
me.
Friday. We'll have someone fun.
Yeah, we usually plan these like the day before. We book Swan Signal like a month in advance, and this one is like, who do we want to see tomorrow?
Yeah, just hang
Well,
out.
if you need somebody, Max can join you with some keto.
There you go. And huge shout out to all the folks in the chat. You guys made it super fun. I think I spent as much time in the chat as on the show today.
Yeah, me too.
Get Keanu Reeves on. That's who I want to see.
Hell yeah, let's get Keanu
you
on.
and me both, sister.
Ask him if he remembers meeting me on the side of the road at 7 a.m.
Yellow stretch tight pants. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
By Kings Road.
Yep.
Nice.
All right, folks. I think that's us for today. Go to swanbitcoin.com. Follow us on Twitter. Get paid to recruit new Bitcoiners at swanbitcoin.com/list. Join our Telegram group at t.me/swansignal. And go to swanbitcoin.com and sign up for daily buys.
Oh, hey, I sent out 200 notifications that daily buys are live. All right, we're going to be rolling those out over the next week or so. We got 200 people stacking daily now. So if you're on the list, watch for the email.
All right, guys. That was awesome.
See ya.
Peace out. Thanks, Stacy. Thanks.